So you've just gotten your Oculus Quest 2 or 3, and the first game you downloaded was Gorilla Tag, and you decide, heck, I want to become good at this game, but you have no prior experience. Well, that's what I'm here for. Yeah. So stick with me as I teach you how to become the best player in Gorilla Tag. Starting with number 1, running. So a lot of people you meet in public lobbies are probably going to teach you how to run like this, but it's not actually the best way. The best and fastest way to run is called funny running. And it's basically you putting your hands like this and rotating them as fast as you can around each other. When you get good at this, you should expect to be traveling this fast. Coming at number 2, hinge climbing. Hinge climbing is one of the most common things you'll have to do in the game. And it's basically you grabbing onto an object with both hands and pushing yourself up. The best area to practice this is double walls. Yeah, I'm not cool. So the way you want to practice this is you want to find one of these things and grab onto it with both hands like this. Here's another angle. You just want to grab onto both sides of the wall like that. Now what you want to do once you have your hands on both sides is push yourself up and catch yourself. You just keep doing that and then you're pinch climbing. That's it. Pinch climbing is one of the easier ways to get up a long surface, but one of the faster ways is Lucio running. If you guys watch Gorilla Tag TikTok in 2022, you know what this is. So you basically want to come up to the wall and you want to jump and then start wiggling your hands on the wall like this. You want to push. Just keep pushing down on the wall, and you should start going up. Here's what it should look like in game. Now you want to try to pair that thing with something called verting or vertical. When you vertical, you want to hit off the wall with both hands first, and then you just keep hitting up. Here's what it looks like when I do it. And when you pair it together, it should look like this. To practice the movement for verting, you can put your hand through this, and then you can move your hand in circles around this thing without touching it, and then you get faster, and that's basically the movement. I mean, and that's the gist of what you have to learn on walls. Now I'm going to take you up into the trees. The first thing I'm going to teach you is branching. Branching is essentially running from one tree branch to another. Most people while branching have these things called roots. Roots are basically the preset branches that they have that they're going to go on. So if my root is this branch to this branch to this branch to this branch, it should look like this. And that's a root. But I'm terrible at making roots, so I have this thing called improvised branching. Improvised branching is when you don't know where you're going and you just keep going. And it works surprisingly well for me. Like, I don't have a preset root or anything, and look at this. So the most effective way to branch is to pick out the next branch that you're gonna go on. Only focus on that next branch, and you'll nail every jump perfectly. This next skill takes a bit of practice. It's called scaling. Scaling is when you're not going from tree to tree, but you're just going to different tree branches on the same tree while traveling upwards. Here's an example. Yes, I know I make it look easy, but it's actually pretty hard to learn. So the first thing you don't want to do is to try to jump directly to every other branch. Because if they're really high off the ground like this one, you're not going to be able to make that jump. Which means you have to use the tree base itself. You jump up, hit off the tree base, and land on the next one. And you keep doing that until you get to the next one. What happens when one of them is too high for you to do that? Well, you can either use the previous learned skill of verting to vert up this tree and land on the next one. And if it's really high up, you can use your pinch climb that you learned. All of your skills apply to this, which is why it's one of the hardest ones to learn. A good part to practice this is up this side of stump. It's one of the most useful ways to get away from somebody, and it's just fun to do in my opinion. So the way you do it is you just scale up stump. And it should look like this. Once you get the hang of that, it should be easy to scale up the trees. Next, I'm going to go over some common jukes. One of the most common jukes is when you're running and they're coming at you head on where you're looking. You just switch the direction you're running in and they'll jump at you, try to tag you, and then you're going to be going the other way. Another one of the most common jukes is the slide juke. The slide juke is just when you go under the slide with your arm clipping through it and then pull yourself up over it. Should look like this. Once again, your arm clips through the slide while you're going through, and then you throw yourself over it. This next juke you guys have probably seen on TikTok, and it's really advanced. The bridge juke. The bridge juke is basically when someone goes under the bridge with their arm, and then they jump over the bridge. Basically like a more complicated version of the slide juke. The way you do this is when you go under the bridge, you want your arm to be as straight as possible, and then you go up just a little bit, and you go forward most, and then you throw yourself up. So arm as straight as it could be, and then you push yourself forward underneath it. This next juke is also pretty advanced. It's a juke right here. This juke is when people hit off this and then throw themselves over the canopy. I actually don't know if it's called a canopy, but whatever. It looks like this. The way you do this one is when you're hitting off of here, you want to shoot yourself out far enough so that you can wrap your arm around that. And you have to push yourself over as fast as you can, because this is what happens if you don't. If you don't, you just try to stay there. You're going to bounce off. If you don't want to bounce off, the lava monkey is usually going to be right there. Well, that's it for me, and hopefully you found this video helpful, and if you did, make sure you subscribe and turn notifications so you never miss another one of my videos. Goodbye.